Hi, Warriors. Let's have a good month this week. Who's up to it? Hi, Arthemio. No, it's not a good time to enter and hold, in my opinion. Paul, how are you? Sinatra, Shahab, Michael Bergman, and Michael Weisman, everybody, team, how are you guys doing?
Good morning, Dale. Everybody.
Kman.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stell. Who else is with us here today?
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, Blake. So just a couple things before I start asking some questions. To me, this, looks like we might be putting in a 3 drive, had a little overthrow here, and it's coming off. I guess if the dollar pops, I saw some numbers around 103.20 for a lot of resistance in Dixie, and the yen keeps marching on. But I thought I'd start the week off with some bear porn. You guys like bear porn? Do you know what it is? It's not Yogi Bear and Boo Boo and having a Mazzola party. Okay? It's a technical reason why I could see the bear case and how we could get to new lows in the S&P. So it's a theory, but I've seen these megaphones work. So once we get back inside of this megaphone, which is around 44.20, it makes this megaphone formation live again. Okay, so these were the 2 hits, never had 3. I think in fact, if you go way back, COVID had a low by taking out 2 previous drives. See here, and then it filled it out. So it's not impossible, but that's my technical reason. Of course, people are goodbye at 4,100 and 38, 36. It's a long way to go. There might be one more good rip to sell if the dollar relents, but I would sell that rip, and it could rally back over 45 again, 45 and a half. I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the dollar. So now I want to open it to the team. Hope everyone enjoyed that bear porn. You could even bring your kids to that. What do you think, Kman, of what how things are set up this week? Any major events that you're paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hefty data week again that we have ahead of us. The dollar is trying. It's trying. Yeah. We try to go above 145 in the dollar yen. We're trying to lean on that low 109s in the euro dollar. And we can get the confirmation this week that we are going to put like another rally in the dollar if the numbers hold up well again. Okay. But at the same time, I'm just noticing that even with the dollar CNH ramping higher, that the Aussie dollar held that prior low around 64.60 in even in Asian time. That's a 31st of May low. And I would have thought that with the dollar China where it is, and with all the issues that there are in China, because there's another one that is in trouble now, that
read about it.
Sorry, yeah, that Zhongji is the next one. So
they're denying it that they suspended payments, right?
Yeah, but then on the other hand, the Chinese officials found it necessary to put a task force in place. So if you're not in trouble, why do you need an official task force to look at it, right?
To make people think that you're protecting them.
Yeah, well, they should, or they will in the end probably. But then in the meantime,
hard for me to believe they don't know what's going on.
Of
they know everything.
Of course, they know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
That's also why they put their what was it, $139 billion worth of so back into the province's hands and took it out of the local government's hands, so they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, as I said,
Yeah.
I mean, that
So
was
you
one
would
that
have thought Aussie would have been lower than
I
it is
thought
right
that
now.
we would at least be hanging around those lows, because the rest is around. You know, dollar China is around the highs, dollar yen is around the highs, and then
Yeah.
Aussie is like it held around there. So that's my first little observation, even though I'm still a bit short of the animal, but yeah, that is one. And yeah, and then I'm looking at the data coming out this week. You know, there's a couple of really decent data, whether it is for the dollar, whether it's for the euro, whether it is for the sterling. And we have the RBNZ. So there's a lot to happen this week. I'm still positioned a bit long dollars overall, but
Okay. Well, that breakout's holding, right, Blake?
Yeah,
So I would
It
just be
is.
careful back underneath it. I think that would not be a good sign.
yeah. The thing is, I mean, this may be the week where you put in the peak. One thing to note as well on the option side is that people are buying a lot of topside dollars into Jackson Hole. So that's the end of the
Okay.
month, 24, 26.
Yeah.
Are we starting to look at that and then all of a sudden get a turnaround there? I don't know, but I'm albeit holding my positions because it is going, but I'm starting to be a little careful. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Okay. Ryan's still paddling. How you doing, Steph?
Back tomorrow, I reckon.
Okay.
But
Hey,
then,
coach.
What's up? I don't know about you, but I kind of smell at least a bounce coming in silver and gold. You know, I don't think we're due. You know, maybe back to 3.5 or so. I'm not sure if this is the bottom, but I mean, look at this. And this is a 4-hour, it's not a 15-minute. So, you know, they can't make momentum, you know, is stopped here on the 23rd.
Yeah.
8th, on the 8th. So we've had 2 weeks basically of, you know, grinding a little wedge here. Diverge not confirming lows. Gold looks pretty similar as well. But silver, I
Yeah.
think a lot of bears, and I think there, you know, I think there were some things with warehouse. I mean, the physical at COMEX and just
Who
what's
cares
happening
about
there.
the physical? They're trading 100 million times the amount of physical or something. No, I'm exaggerating, obviously.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to say this. There are the three main instruments are very close to a make or break moment. So let me I can take the
Go ahead.
screen for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, because I know you've been talking about that gold is very close to a breakdown, and that's
Yeah.
what you're looking to play. Okay.
Yeah, well, first I'm going to look at the S&P that you talked about.
Yeah,
We have this area which is very important, but we
it
still haven't
is.
broken. So
Right.
this is on the verge. What happens when we get risk off? Usually we get a dollar rally, right? That's what usually happens. Well, look at the DXY. It's coming up to resistance. So, and also, if you look at 10-year US, it's also coming up to the previous highs. And all these three will trade in a pretty correlated way. So we are at a decision point, major decision point. If Jackson Hole brings us hawkish rhetoric, which my opinion is that it will not, but if it does, then we see 10-year US break higher, dollar break higher, S&P most likely breaking lower, because with stocks you never know. You know, good news is good news, bad news is good news. So that's how it's been for ages. So we are at a very, very important level, or close to. Gold is similar. 1895 we talked about for a long time. Well, that's only $15 away. Silver is also looking weak. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we talked about this on the Flow Show this morning. We had the big impulsive move from COVID lows to the highs, which was incredibly, if you think about how quickly it happened. And then we have a big channel type consolidation correction. We're roughly in the middle of that. So in the grand scheme of things, we're still chopping sideways within a big range. But for me, it's the S&P, it's the dollar and the 10-year yields, which are all very, very close and could all break together, or most likely will all break together. Now, is it going to be to the upside for yields in the dollar and downside for stocks, or is it going to be the other way around? It's a good question. We are in an environment where the US again is estimated to have a 2 trillion deficit this year. That has to be funded. Interest payments are very high with yields being high. Can the US economy and the whole, the country, can it withstand high yields for long? No, it cannot. That's a problem. I was reading stats, something like, I can't remember the exact number, but a big chunk of what the US is borrowing now in new issues is to pay
interest.
Yes, exactly. Existing interest. That cannot work. It's like having a credit card where your monthly payment is huge and you increase your limit all the time to pay your monthly payment. Well, at some point, it's going to break. And they know that this doesn't work. So they have to bring rates lower. They have to. How do they do that? Well, they've done this in the past. They need an excuse to cut rates, to do QE, etc. And I think they're going to do it again because we know what they're made of, and we know I don't trust them. They shouldn't, but they're going to. So, good question. We are at a big level in pretty much everything. So, what do I think is going to happen? What do I think is going to happen with gold? Who knows? For choice, I think this is going to break, most likely. But if we get dovish. Jackson Hole and Jerome Powell turns the other way, then these lows are going to hold. So that's my quick 2-minute analysis.
It was longer than 2 minutes, or at least it felt like it. I'm kidding you, buddy. Anyway, so
I'll give you back the screen. Okay.
No. Okay. So you may have to change your narrative if we make new highs in 10-year yields that, they're not coming down anytime soon, right? I mean,
they haven't come down. It will depend on the prevailing environment. Why are they breaking out? What's happening? So,
will they come down if the Fed doesn't tighten next month? If they just sit pat, or will they just stay elevated?
A good question. I think yields will eventually grind quite a bit lower, but what happens in the next month, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it would take a 3,000 S&P for yields to really start dropping again.
Yeah, 3,000 S&P.
Well, I mean, why would they, ease when their whole mission was to stop a lot of things that are reaccelerating? I mean, real estate didn't go down. Housing was one of, and labor hasn't really weakened dramatically. That's what they're focused on, and too much growth. So we'd really have to start getting a lot of bad numbers, don't you think?
Let's see. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe employment's big next month in front of the Fed. Anyway, Blake, good morning. How are you?
It's Monday. Good morning.
Yeah.
It feels like a slow start to the week, but as Kman mentioned a little bit earlier, we got a lot of data coming out this week. But I think the big news overnight though is all the stuff that happened in China. Like you got this move in the US dollar CNH. And Stelios, Kman, I know you guys are around for the flow show. There was like some big payments that weren't made. I believe
suspensions.
What's that?
Suspension of payments was rumored. I saw what's her name?
Country
Tracy
Garden
retweeted.
Holdings, which is
there's two things, right? Hi Blake. There's Country Garden who suspended some bond trading, 11 local bonds or so, and then there's this new one over the weekend, Zhongxi, who didn't make payments for some wealth
managers.
Instruments, what was it again? Some maturing wealth products. So they didn't make their payments either. So there's another thing adding to the fun, which is probably why dollar China rose. And
you look at the Hang Seng. I mean, we're down, almost 1.5%. or I guess 1.5%.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that may be why the crude's going to work too, Blake. The 3 drive up here. I'm so short, looking for about 77 first stop. It's been one of the strongest commodities. It may be the only one. Uranium's been okay, but you know, everyone's pretty bulled up in WTI. Starting to hear people talk about $100 crude and stuff, and you know, all we did was
you see
rally
crude's
back
actually
here.
hitting its trend line right now, actually, as we speak.
Okay.
It's just testing it right now. So
I think we're going to 62.
62.
Yeah.
Whoa, man. You mean we're
Yeah.
all going to get to all of us? It's going to be saving all the Americans.
No,
and their
they won't
V12
lower
engines?
gas. No, they won't lower gas prices, but it could fall to 62 without them doing much on gas prices.
No, RBOB won't.
Because they'll
won't
say,
do that.
oh, yeah, we know there's lots of crude around now, but we're having refinery issues. And you got hurricanes coming in and stuff, you know. Anyway, no, you think we're going to get cut a break when, you know, crude falls, I don't know, $20? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, so yeah, I mean, we're watching the things that are happening in China. I think that's kind of a big deal, and you're seeing the, you know, the US dollar CNH rally. So what do you guys think is going to happen with this dollar CNH? Do you think we're going to eventually break out? Do you think this is going to be, you know, a new high coming in the US dollar CNH? What do you think here, Kman?
A new high is still open in the air because PBOC is really fighting quite hard against this. Well, I mean, hang on, they haven't been selling dollar China, right? But they are putting their fixings way below the market. They are up to like more than 750 points below the market, which is a lot. So that does mean that they are a bit nervous about this, because if not, they would be putting their fixings much closer to the market. But yeah, I do think there is, in current context, there is nothing that should prevent from retesting the highs, at least around that 735, 740 zone. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still talking my book. I think it doesn't look great over there. So I'm just running what I have right now. So I think it's really should be going there. Because it's funny, PBOC fixes the yuan too strong versus where it is, but at the same time they can continue to inject liquidity. So it's like a bit of a split tongue stuff that they are doing over there. But they know the situation is not good, and every time you get another one of those big companies being in trouble, you know, it's not going to be good, and the investors are not going to like what's happening over there.
Yeah, it's scary. It's one of those that seems like, to me, it could be like a runaway freight train that catches the market off guard, and it is also fueling this continued dollar strength. And you're right, Dale. Breakout is happening with the dollar index. Actually, we're sustaining our breakout. We tried to test the breakout point today in European trade. You saw the euro trade above 109.50. That's quickly reversed. The euro is actually nearing its trend lows. You got, you know, a couple of big currencies, you know, are, I think, in development right now is the Aussie and the Kiwi. Obviously, a lot of data coming out this week. Tonight, actually, we have some wage price index, I think, out of Australia. But man, look at how vulnerable the Aussie is. I mapped this out on the week ahead video. You know, we start getting below like this trend line here, the 64-cent level. I mean, you know, where's the bottom from here? You know, you start looking around, and there's a lot of open air below the Aussie, you know, anywhere from the 64-cent down to maybe 60 cents or lower. Kiwi, nice trap door and a double top developing. I mean, you know, you got some, you know, we're trading slightly below the breakdown point right now. There's a lot of open air here too, as the Kiwi just gets destroyed. And we got the RBNZ this week. So a lot of, I think, key developments that could happen with Australia, New Zealand, Australia. I think we have a labor report, employment jobs report at the very end of the week. So, and another big one with the commodity currencies is going to be CPI on in Canada. We're going to cover that tomorrow. I believe that is tomorrow. It's on Tuesday. So, and you can see the US dollar Canadian. I mean, this thing could really take off to the upside too. It hasn't really backed off, and if you get crude oil breaking down, that could be another catalyst that drives the dollar Canadian higher. So I don't know. I mean, these moves look pretty. Looks like they tried to stop them in Europe, and then here's like, look at the euro just giving back everything right now that we had in European trade. That was in Europe today, and then here we are back at trend lows. What do you guys think? And Stelios, you were talking a little bit about the Jackson Hole Symposium, which by the way is August 24th, so it's 10 days away. So we got 10 days between now and then. That's like, it seems like an eternity in the market. What do you expect from Jackson Hole, or do you expect anything?
Good question.
I expect it to be cooler there.
It's going to be cooler than it is where I live. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Where you live, Dale.
I don't think we're going to have anything of major significance, but I do think that as time goes by, Powell will continue to move towards the dovish side. And let's face it, they have done that so far because they've effectively paused. If originally they said there's going to be a skip, they did another hike, and now the markets are pricing 6, 7, 8, 9 basis points, something like that, so less than 50-50. And so that was the beginning, and I think that's this trend, let's say, it's going to continue. I think he's going to start giving more and more dovish direction, let's say. Because as I said before, he's not an idiot. He knows exactly what job he has to do. And his job is to get inflation down. Inflation is coming down. Okay, it's not a target yet, but it is at much lower levels than it was, 6 to 9 months ago. And he also understands that even the lagging indicators are going to start turning, and high rates for longer will hurt the economy and are hurting the economy. And when people say, oh, but employment is doing really well, look at the details. Employment is not doing very well. You get double counting, you get part-time jobs increasing by a huge amount, and the specialized jobs dropping massively. This is not. But of course, the headline number, payrolls and all that, is showing 250,000, 200,000 jobs. Yeah, everything's great. No, it isn't great. That's a problem. If you look at the
restaurants are packed still, and I went out. They're packed. I don't know how they do it. A family of 8, go out and eat what the prices are, and they're packed. People are waiting in line to get into restaurants.
Well, it depends on where you are, right? But the question is
everywhere.
The question
even
is
in Menifee.
What has been rising faster, inflation or wages? Clearly inflation. So what's happening to disposable income? It's going down. I mean, this is mathematics 101. I don't know what people are doing.
I don't know how they're doing it
in California or in Arizona or wherever, but I bet you the average person in the country is feeling the pinch. I mean, they have to. So, but anyway,
utility bills are almost twice as high for natural gas they were this winter, and for electricity they are this summer. I've never paid utility bills like this.
Yeah. Well, Mike has a good point. He says people are dipping into their savings. You know what else they're dipping into? Credit cards. Credit card debt has record highs with rates at 25%. I mean, this is unsustainable, but everything's fine. Everything's nice and dandy. Don't worry. That's what I don't get.
That's why we should be long the S&P for the new iPhone 15 release. There was a question that came in right at the beginning of the show.
About Apple.
Arithmo asked about Apple stock and buying it in anticipation of the September release of the iPhone 464th version that is exactly the same, that has a tweaked camera. My answer to that question is hell no. I mean, look at Apple breakdown. That is a scary ass chart to be long. And the 38% retracement is still another, let me just confirm that. It is another 4% lower And I would think after a false breakout that Apple just put in, we're probably going to trade back towards the 200-day moving average, probably around the 161 level.
That's the first step.
That would be the first stop, right, Dale? Before we even start attracting
Under that
any buyers.
120, under that it measures 120. So
yeah, I mean, it's, I mean, look, that is an ugly chart.
yeah,
So
but managed, that
I
rally
don't want to be
was
a
so
little
managed.
sarcastic here, Arithmo, but I'm just saying that I think that's not a good reason to be buying Apple. And even if it got bid up following the Apple iPhone 15 release, that they put in a brand new Pixel camera, it's probably going to get faded right after that. So,
but remember,
I mean, that's an ugly looking chart.
Remember, one bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl. Donny Osmond.
Donny Osmond. Holy cow! You just reached in the forever ago bucket. Oh my god!
What a rocker I am.
All right. So, hey, you know, the scary thing, I know, Stelios, you were talking a little bit about precious metals. You know, gold is nearing the 200-day moving average. That's I mean, look at gold just giving it back. Silver, you know, under a little bit of pressure here. I think we're going to trade down towards 20. Again, I'm a buyer somewhere down here. But I mean, you look at gold, and gold looks weak. What's driving gold right now?
Yields.
Well, yes.
$1.
Yeah, the dollar, huh?
Yeah.
Dollar yields, everything's kind of working against it.
The yen.
The yen. I mean, look at the dollar yen. By the way, the dollar yen's nearing 161% extension of, let me just show you this move right here. Boop. Wait, not that one. Let me delete that real quick. This one. See, you see this peak here. This is the last move down in the dollar yen. We're at the 161% extension, basically. Right here, right now. Actually, 145.33 is what I had. So yeah, we're here right now. I mean, the dollar looks.
Not a word from the MOF, right? Overnight.
Yeah, no, nothing yet. And so as long as they're not freaking out the market,
that's a lot for the VIX to be up with the S&P is only down 6.
Sure is. That's bit up a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you got to, I guess we got to get a nice little sustained break above 20 to really freak anybody out. But do you guys notice the Swissy here? Nice bull flag pattern. There's your move here. If dollar Swiss breaks 88.20, that's going to send the Swiss franc into a tailspin. We'll be trading back up towards 90 cents and sever this descending channel. So, I mean, the dollar looks dangerous, right? It looks like what's the term that everybody uses? The dollar wrecking ball.
Yeah, that's
Laura writes in, and Laura's in our chat room. She says, maybe it's cheaper to eat out rather than shopping and cooking. It happens here in Argentina. Shopping, cooking, energy. It could be it gas or electricity, water plus washing, everything. It's more expensive than going out. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine. I went to McDonald's a couple months ago because we had to get like drive-through food because it was like late at night. I spent with 4 people in the car. I spent $50 at McDonald's, Dale. McDonald's.
Yeah, I know.
McDonald's. That's like I mean, that's horrible. Anyway, hey, we're about a minute away from you bringing in the interview, but just your interview and starting. I just want to ask really quick, Stelios, what's on your mind going into this week? Like what's your big like development in the markets that you're seeing that really has your attention this week? And Kman, we're going to come to you next.
I have very little. I'm looking at these levels I talked about in the S&P 10-year and in the Dixie. And as long as they are not broken, then we have nothing. If and when they are broken, then we can talk about, targets, etc. But for now, I don't have anything.
Okay, Kman.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. The levels are there. The 109 low 109s on the euro is important enough. We are breaking 145 on dollar yen, and we are back to years low on or close there on the Aussie. So looking at the dollar, my friend, looking at the dollar to see if the dollar keeps on dollaring.
Dollar is dollaring. We are at the 127% extension of this consolidation. So when we broke out, we're just sitting there right now. We just hit it this morning. You can see it on the hourly chart. And me, I left you guys with this on the week ahead video. You guys got to watch the S&P, because if we break last week's low, that means we're breaking below the 50 DMA. That should open up a nice little trap door. So watch stocks, I think, this week. Watch the S&P, because I think the S&P is kind of key here. It's levitating, but below the 50 DMA might open up some downside. Remember, it's sell in August, go away, right, Dale?
Yeah.
So we can see if we can get back to May levels, which would be, back here around 4,300
layup.
Yeah, we can see if we can get back there before
Labor Day.
September comes in, or Labor Day weekend. There you go. So
wake me up when September ends.
There's a song like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Green Day. Green Day.
Hey, Dale,
Hey,
have
they
a great
came
interview.
a little later than Donny Osmond. Anyway, I'm Turner Classic Movies when it comes to music. So,
oh my gosh, TCM.
Yeah. So, team, thank you for saying a lot of things when it's hard to have conviction. But the theme I get is from Kman. Dollar's still well bid. Hasn't reversed yet. So, okay, team, thanks very much. And
good week, Dale. Thank you.
Thanks,
too, buddy.
Dale. Thanks, Kay. Thanks, Dale.
So I had Alexander Perna here. There you are, Alexander. Welcome back. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Got you now, loud and clear.
Awesome. Hey, good morning.
Good to have you back on Face, Alexander. How things been going?
Good. Just trying to get out of the heat here in Florida. It's been super humid, and temperatures are reaching sun level.
Yeah. So you have to stay indoors, hide out, huh?
Yeah. Even the ocean water is like, hovering around like 96. So you can't even escape.
Yeah, I heard that. It's unbelievable. I think in the Gulf Coast, it's 100 degrees. It's like a jacuzzi.
Yeah, you got to stay in the cold plunge.
Yeah. All right. Well, I had it out here when we're 104. Not a lot of humidity, but the markets right now. Do you like this dollar? Do you think that the dollar? I went to your stream, and it said, if you're going to share your screen, that you're looking to sell the weak currencies against the strong ones. Okay, and would that be something like you want to be long yen, US dollar yen?
Well, the yen's been quite weak here.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to top pick it a couple of times. It hasn't been easy. Oh, and there you show that same dollar breakout over that rectangle.
Yeah. I mean, it's holding. That was something I was kind of keeping track of. I thought maybe it'd be a false breakout, since we're in weekly supply, we're in daily supply. So definitely higher probability of a turning point, but kind of what you were alluding to earlier, the relative strength is still pointing to a strong dollar, as you can see. It's just been chugging higher. So, seasonally right now, euro dollar tends to be weaker in August. Same with the commodity currencies like CAD and Aussie and New Zealand. So it's really difficult when you're at these kind of these potential turning points. Just to stick with the trend is kind of the way to go. And if you take a loss, you take a loss. It's typically at these points, though. It's like, once I take a loss, it's kind of like I'll take my hand off of the burner. I'll touch it once, and if it burns me, then got to remove the hand. Don't want to just keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause
I
that
would
can
say
hurt
what
you.
I would say with all the cross currents in the currency market, and I've been thinking about this lately, maybe the smart trade is just trade the dollar index. And, you know, I mean, the formation was there. It was threatening that resistance after, I don't know, PCE number or CPI dollar came off and came back like a rocket to close near there. At least the frame of reference couldn't be clearer that the dollar rally aborts back under 102.80. Right. And until then, you're
Yeah.
long. Maybe you're long with reverse out stops under 102.80. You ever do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, there's still good setups going on with some of the pairs. Like I was saying, like dollar CAD. CAD typically seasonally is weak this month. Let me see if I can.
And that may tie in, you know, I think crude has peaked, and I'm looking for at least a correction to begin with in crude.
Yeah,
That should be supportive of USD CAD, right?
Yeah, I could see CAD putting in a high. It's been kind of it's at the extreme high of a range that it's been just kind of lingering in. I think the low is around 64 or something like that. So definitely interesting. And so yeah, seeing CAD coming off the highs would definitely give a boost to a dollar CAD. But you can kind of see, I have all these small charts here.
Yeah, that still looks bullish.
Yeah, so here's August. This is a weekly chart, so we're just coming into it now. So typically in August, we'll see kind of that stronger CAD. So I put a line right here just to mark.
I had a guest last week who discovered the close correlation between USD CAD and VIX.
Oh, really?
So he's
Well, that's
using that to trade the market, you know, as a kind of a risk-off currency that's leading the VIX. So
I'll have to. I don't really look at the VIX all that often.
Yeah.
Primarily as a currency trader, just not really
right.
not really my thing. But that's interesting. I mean, I'm all about correlations. I think it's super interesting. Typically, I go towards seasonal correlations just because there's kind of more glue there, if you will.
So is August kind of an I don't know month?
No.
You know, I think that was an important low, and I think Dixie will see 108. All I have are short-term questions. I don't have a long-term question. The short-term question is, am I going to be able to add on with the Dixie pulling back to say 101.5 again? Is there going to be a pullback?
I'm waiting for that turn. So it's, we're Dixie's in an area where I believe it could turn and aggressively, but you end up fighting the trend if you just look for reversals. So the only thing that I've really been fighting is like long. I was trying to go long pound dollar, but it's just breaking down. And I had this little area here that I was looking at.
Yeah.
These little demand zones, especially when you have a wick kind of try to come down and test it as it moves away. They tend to be quite strong, and had a little reaction here, but it's just not holding. So, that this is the only kind of currency that I was really trying to fight this dollar strength with, and as you can see, it's just
didn't work down. Yeah, I tried it too. We had little pops, but you know what? When I look at this right now, I'm more objective than I look at even my own. Is that every rally, the two rallies we've had, have been small retracements, 38, 50%, and maybe that's the demonstration of how weak it really is. You know, we got used to having, 61/8 and, more of a two-way trade. It's been pretty much a one-way trade since the highs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Looking at it hindsight, it's even this rally here, just kind of holding a round number, the 130.
That's the one I caught. I caught that.
Nice.
But then I was looking for more here, just like you, from last week, and all I got was a maybe 1-day pop out of it. And now it looks like it's threatening a neckline.
Yeah, it's something that would be interesting to see. I don't think anyone's really pointed this out. Normally the FinTwit is all about reversals, and I haven't seen anyone kind of talking about this. I know
that would measure like 121 or so, wouldn't it? 131 to 125, 122 about.
Just like a simple measurement.
Yeah,
around 121.
Yeah, it's a big trade.
Yeah, so we'll definitely I'll be watching this in conjunction with the dollar. But for me, it's really trying to stick with the clear stuff. So like dollar yen's been really easy, especially now that we're breaking above this round number 145 handle.
Okay.
So really into dollar yen right now.
Do you have any upside supply? Where's it going to come in at the October highs at 152?
Kind of looking at the weekly chart for that.
Yeah.
And so what's nice is we have that the next quarter is 127.50, which would be right around here. So we have a good 250 pips or so till we get around supply and resistance. Again, just because we're at these highs, I always push myself to just follow the trend, and then if I burn myself here, I just take a step back, and then we'll say, okay, let's reassess this. So still bullish. I think it can rally, but a nice little area that this topped out in. This thing has just been a beast. If you go to you have to go to like a 3-month chart, but you see this inverse head and shoulders here.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Kind of interesting.
Where was the breakout? 125?
Yeah, right around there, 125.
Okay.
And I mean, projections, take it with a grain of salt here, but we could see a very weak yen if this wants to hold itself and just kind of continue in this overall uptrend. And it seems like a quick reaction. Had that small, relatively small to this chart. This is a 3-month chart, but quick recovery after that dip.
The 28 breakout held like a champ.
Yeah. So definitely dollar yen has been on my radar. I've been trading a lot of dollar yen and Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie seasonally tends to do better since the commodity currencies do take a hit. We typically see like Euro New Zealand. Let's see here. So like I have that in green, Euro Aussie in green. I'm going to get out of that 3-month chart there. But these like just super clean trends are really what I try to look for. And kind of what I try to highlight when I post my relative strength stuff. So, just looking at the relative strength, you have New Zealand as the weakest currency and the euro as one of the strongest. Same with dollar yen. Right now the dollar is top of the pack. It's the strongest single currency out there, where the yen is one of the weakest. So, you take kind of one of each group, and you smash them together, and you typically find these just really clean trends, as opposed to like if you've traded Aussie dollar lately, you know, Aussie dollar has been a mess. Let's go to look at a smaller time frame here.
Choppier.
Yeah, it's
Sideways.
it's been difficult. Same with pretty much any of these purple little markers. So like Aussie yen hasn't had a lot of follow through. Aussie New Zealand, because the weakness on both sides with the commodity currencies, the Aussie and New Zealand just can't really have an extended move. You know, Aussie and New Zealand will have these knee-jerk reactions, but typically just.
So when you code them like that, the purple means avoid.
Purple just means sideways, and
Okay.
in my book, that's avoid. You know, as a trend trader, I really don't want to participate in range markets, even though you know, actually studies have shown retail traders do better in range markets, since their tendency is to kind of fade.
And they get bailed out. They get bailed out. Yeah.
So I don't really like to say avoid, because I know there's a lot of traders out there that have robust range trading systems, and that's fine. But for me, certainly,
you're looking for the
trend. Green is the trend.
Okay. And red is a short or what?
Yeah. So like New Zealand CAD.
Okay.
You know, nice overall trend, just going down.
Yeah.
New Zealand has been weaker than the CAD, so that's what's kind of forcing this lower. But you know, when you're, you know, for any of you guys listening now who are a little lost with the relative strength, I post this stuff here, and these are the two groups that I was saying to take one of. So you know, notice CAD isn't there. So CAD's somewhere in the middle here. And so, you know, when you get single currencies that are close to one another in relative strength, even if you have a trend, the trend's typically going to be choppy. It's going to be just wider swings. So kind of here, you can see the overall direction, but these swings go typically deeper. And you'll get kind of false breakouts here, as it then wants to re-break the low. You had something over here,
some
trick
shakeouts.
everyone.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, just trying to stick with the trends. You know, things that look really good. You know, you don't just want to buy after a rally in price, but you certainly want to kind of create a list that of the currencies that are showing strength, and you want to keep your eyes on that.
Can we see your currency meter, your strength meter? Do you have it, or you just post it in the data column?
I just post it.
Okay.
I had an Excel spreadsheet that I used to post, and it's acting weird. Like typically I'll redo the chart every month, and it started to want to bring in prior month dates. So like if I was trying to do August, you know, it would want to bring in June.
You're getting hacked by the Chinese, man.
Yeah, so
they want your stuff.
I've been tinkering with it, but at the moment it's just in this kind of format right now.
Okay.
But it's a process. I basically use the currency pairs, so I don't use the futures, but I use the currency pairs, and I basically create a benchmark, and I just see, is this pair above or below the benchmark? And if it's above the benchmark, then the base is strong and the quote is weak.
Yes.
The base being the front currency, the quote being the back. And then vice versa if it's below the benchmark. And typically the benchmark's a 200 period moving average. So it's simple. It just takes a little bit of work when you're doing it by hand. So it was nice, you know, having that chart, because I could show a visual of the historical movement of the positioning. But like I said, I just got to work on that a little bit.
Do you have a website?
I don't. I
Okay,
don't.
so the
I,
best, so what's your model? Are you working with people individually or do you have a group?
I'm really just trade on my own.
Yeah.
I did start getting involved with kind of a startup, Trader Tactics, where I'll be doing live trading rooms.
Oh,
But really, it's
congratulations.
just me. You know, I was actually August is my 15th year of trading. And for 7 of those, I was an instructor and I was traveling around
Right.
doing all that. But after that ended, I kind of just like to trade for myself. You know, I post random stuff on my Twitter, but I don't really have much to sell. Don't I'm not really
But
I'm not
you
really,
like,
you know.
but you like, you know, giving people heads up about and what you're doing, and maybe it'll help them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
your
I have a lot
motivation.
of friends in the trading community, so we kind of keep up on one another through Twitter and just social media like that.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
really just, yeah, I like to just trade for myself, and it's nice.
I
It's
think
nice
you could
being
learn
able
from
to.
and you know, anyone watching this video live or later, very important theme to get down is relative strength in anything, in stocks and commodities and how things pair up. I'd at the
Wholeheartedly
minimum,
agree.
I'd follow Alexander at Who's Trend, WHOSTREND, and learn from him. He's offering it. So if you're hungry to know something I think is relevant, you know, I use a RSI. What's that? Relative strength. So, you know, it's important to know your leaders and laggards to help you with your trade selections. So I'm a big believer in it, in what you're doing. And thank you for having a giving spirit, just sharing it with people.
Thank you for inviting me on. I always enjoy just coming in and talking. You know, it's it was different, you know, coming into just trading for myself and at home when I was in the classroom for so long and almost every day interacting with traders and getting their perspective. I think trading is almost all perspective, and that's kind of where I got my handle from. Who's Trend? You know, it depends on who you're going to ask, but
Yeah.
so it's nice.
Well,
And
listen to the Van Morrison song, "Why Must I Always Explain?" And
okay.
you'll be glad you're not teaching anymore.
So
It's a
I do
great
appreciate you
song.
letting me come on.
All right, Alexander, good hunting the rest of the summer, and we'll get back together and see where the leadership is in the fall.
Great. Awesome, Dale. Well, take care.
Okay.
And I'll
Thank you,
talk to
buddy.
you later.
My trading warrior brother, Alexander Perna. Follow him at Who's Trend. So guys, you could join the team in 21 minutes for the morning edge. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone for Turnaround Tuesday. You're welcome, guys. Thanks, Alexander. See you all later.
Thanks again. Thanks, everyone.